Good morning, church, or evening. I'm sitting around here by a fire. Had a wonderful time worshiping with everybody. And as I thought about this devotional that I wanted to share with you all and prayed about for something that God placed in my heart, the story of Nicodemus came to mind. Now, Nicodemus is a Pharisee, and his story is found within the book of John. And John uses the story of Nicodemus to, I think, maybe tease out a bit of what our relationship with Jesus could or maybe even should look like. You see, Nicodemus, being a Pharisee, would have been looked down upon if he would have just wholeheartedly jumped in and followed Jesus with all that he had. Now, I think that's what Jesus asks for us, is he desires for us to just forget everything. Forget about ourselves and to pick up our crosses daily and follow him. But that's not how it worked for Nicodemus, and I think it's a little different for everybody, but that tends to be a transformation that takes place over time. But not only do I think the story of Nicodemus is about who we ought to be in our search for Jesus, but also how our relationship with him should look like even afterward. You see, Nicodemus, when we first meet him, comes to Jesus, it says, by night. And you get this picture of a man who has been taught a certain way of living, who has been taught certain customs and rituals and ways to be righteous before God. And all of a sudden we have this Jesus guy come on the scene, and he starts preaching some new things that are very challenging, especially to people who have been used to doing it a certain way. But Nicodemus is intrigued. He hears and maybe sees some things of Jesus, and he's got some questions. You see, because he knows the scripture so well. He knows that they've been waiting for Messiah to come, and that there's going to be this one who will come and rescue them. And he hears about this Jesus guy, and he just starts wondering. So he comes to him by night, because he's not quite yet there. But he meets Jesus at night, and Jesus starts talking to him, and Jesus tells him that you have to be born again in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. And of course, Nicodemus is confused, and some of this is a little bit of a language barrier with us, but Jesus may have been meaning born from above, but the word for from above and again are the same in the Greek. But Nicodemus is confused and says, can one go back into their mother's womb and be born again? And you kind of a comical scene taking place here, and Jesus says that those who are born of flesh and blood are just like you and I, but those who are born of the Spirit do the things of the Spirit. And you get this scene where Nicodemus is starting to hear some new things that are challenging to him. And Jesus even says, you're a teacher of the law, one of the teachers of Israel, and you don't understand these things that I'm trying to teach to you? And we leave this scene, and certainly Nicodemus takes these things to heart, and he continues to think about them. And I think there's a transformation that slowly begins to take place. You see, later on, we meet Nicodemus, and there's this council when they're getting ready to go after Jesus, and Nicodemus kind of pauses them and says, shouldn't we at least give him a fair trial? And they look at him and say, are you one of his followers too? He doesn't say that he is yet. But there's a transformation slowly taking place. Jump to the end of John, and Jesus has been crucified, and we meet this character, Joseph of Arimathea, and says that he was a follower of Jesus in secret because he was afraid of the Jews, and he had a tomb that they were going to put Jesus in. But we meet Nicodemus again, who then makes the preparations for Jesus' burial. He puts the spices on him that they would have used, the embalming that they would have done. seems like he's slowly but surely making a transformation to believing that Jesus is who he said he was. Now, that's all we know of Nicodemus. And I would love to be able to hear what else has happened in Nicodemus' life after Jesus comes back from the dead and after the disciples begin their missionary journeys and the church just booms. I would love to know more of him, but we don't. But I would be willing to bet that Nicodemus' transformation continued and that he began to be more bold day in and day out for the King. And church, that's really the name of the game when it comes to being a follower of Christ. It's change. It's transformation. I think transformation and change is very difficult. In fact, I'm going to call out Penny Evans here. She mentioned to me this morning at church, she said, I don't like change. Change is hard. Man, it's certainly true. But you see, we're being transformed from one degree of glory to another. And our transformation is necessary and vital for us to be alive in the King. So church, today, find a way to be transformed. Jump into the Word. Seek after Him in prayer. Get together with those who are part of the kingdom. Be encouraged to live more for the King today than you did yesterday. And little bit by little bit, we will be transformed and changed to being more like the Son. And in so doing, we will bring the kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. I love you, church, and I hope you have a blessed day. And we'll chat at you later. Bye.